I'm going to wait just a minute or two before we start. We had a beer board meeting that ran over just a couple of minutes. I'm going to give a couple of commissioners opportunity to get in the chamber. So we'll wait just 1 or 2 more minutes. Welcome to the October 14th, 2019 formal County Commission meeting. I'm going to call on Chief Deputy John Smith to call our meeting to order. If you would, please remain standing for the pledge led by Commissioner Creek and our invocation led by Commissioner Creek.
All rise. Oh yes, this Honorable Board of County Commissioners is now in session pursuant to adjournment. May God save this state and its Honorable Board of County Commissioners.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for your love and your watch care. It says in 1 Corinthians 2-9, but it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath either entered to the heart of man the things in which God hath prepared for them and love him. We thank you, Lord, for the commission body that we have. We just pray for guidance as we make decisions. We pray for those that are in need of prayer, those that are searching for employment, those that are ill, and we thank you for how you blessed our county and the leadership you provided. For in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
To your attendance. Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the roll?
You have 19 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. We have a couple of proclamations tonight. If I could get Cece. I call you Cece Carmack. I know you got another name that goes on that as well. I'm sorry. Cece is with Urban Ministries, and I'd like to present this proclamation to her. Commissioner Pritchard, I think if you would like to come up as well. So if you would, allow me to read this proclamation. Whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, and income levels. And whereas domestic violence is widespread and the U.S. Department of Justice estimates that 1.3 million women and 835,000 men are victims of physical violence by a partner every year. Whereas 1 in 3 Americans have witnessed an incident of domestic violence, and whereas children that grow up in violent homes are believed to be abused and neglected at a rate higher than the national average, and whereas domestic violence costs the nation billions of dollars annually in medical expenses, police and court costs, shelters, foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and non-productivity. And whereas only a coordinated community effort will put a stop to this heinous crime. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy services and assistance to victims. Now, therefore, I, Jim Durrett, Mayor of Montgomery County, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2019 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge all citizens to work together to eliminate domestic violence from our community. Cece, I just want to thank you and Urban Ministries for what y'all do for this cause, and anything we can do to help, we want to help. So thank you. Do you want to say anything? Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this proclamation and recognition of the fact that domestic violence is a community issue. Urban Ministry Safe House is a proud partner agency of the United Way of the Greater Clarksville region, and I know you have a very important vote coming up about that tonight. So if you support this proclamation, there are other ways you can show that support and help us save lives from domestic violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if I could have Miss Carly Summers come up. This is a proclamation that I would like to read as well. Whereas each day, over 200,000 residents rely on the 2,064 miles of public drinking water and wastewater infrastructure located in Montgomery County. Whereas Montgomery County is home to over 300 miles of rivers and streams that are used by our residents for recreation. And whereas access to clean drinking water and managing water responsibility is critical to Montgomery County's environmental health. And whereas the water and wastewater infrastructure that brings water to and from Montgomery County homes and businesses is essential to the quality of life and economic vitality. And whereas utility infrastructure within our community and throughout Tennessee is aging, and access to the reliable funding required to maintain and upgrade systems is uncertain. And whereas investing in our drinking water and wastewater systems will secure a bright and prosperous future for generations to come, and whereas every individual can make a difference when it comes to conserving water to protect this critical resource and promote a healthy economy and community. Whereas Montgomery County recognized that water is essential to our quality of life and economic competitiveness, and acknowledged the importance of educating the public about the value of water, about the value of all water through the Imagine a Day Without Water campaign. Now therefore I, Jim Durrett, Mayor of Montgomery County, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim October 23rd, 2019 as Imagine a Day Without Water Day, and urge all citizens to join in this worthy observance. Carly, thank you for all you do to promote this cause. Do you want to say anything?
I would say something
Sure.
really quick. Just want to say very quickly, on October 23rd, we urge all of our residents to think about what it would mean if they turned on the faucet and there was no water there. Also, watch the Montgomery County social media feeds. We'll have additional information for residents along with facts about water in the next week. So make sure you watch for that.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Carly.
everybody.
All right, at this time, I'll call Mr. Dave Caskey, our Director of Animal Control, to come forward. Commissioners, if you recall back a year ago, we did some changes to our animal control regulations, specifically relating to stray intakes. And so I've asked Mr. Caskey to come and give you a very brief presentation on where we stand, basically a policy review. So Dave, welcome. Thanks for all you do.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. I just wanted to give a brief overview. As you may or may not remember, last year we started an owner surrender policy on October 1st of last year. And basically what that was is to control our intake of owner surrenders, which was kind of basically out of control when I arrived here in March of last year. So one of the tasks we were given was to try to get that under control and resolve that as best as we could. So in October 1st of last year, we started a new program where owner surrenders, the pet owners had to make an appointment first of all, where we require at least a 2-week window before they bring that pet in. That provides us time to help them find new homes for their pet, rehome their pet, or find solutions for them to keep their pet. That's the biggest thing we want to do, is try to keep the pet in the home. So that gives us time to find solutions, such as a lot of times people just need extra dog food, cat food, medical care. So we put them in touch with different vets and the Humane Society to try to resolve those issues. Prior to instituting this program, there really was no checks and balances. There was people lined up at the front door on pretty much every morning waiting to surrender their pets. So a solution was needed to try to end all that from occurring. So on So in the appointment system also provides a cool down period for the pet owner. A lot of times, if they're allowed to bring the pet in right away, they've already made up their mind. So by giving them that 2-week window, a lot of times pet owners will change their mind. We've had a lot of appointments where the pet owners called and canceled. We also started charging a $30 fee. Basically what that fee provides is provides for the medications, the vaccines, the medical care, and the staffing to take care of those pets once they enter the shelter. Doesn't always cover everything. A lot of times we get older pets that come in that are surrendered. The folks can't afford the medical care, and it's passed on to us, basically. In 2016 alone, the shelter had 1,529 pets that were surrendered. In 2017, that number was 1,492. We had made some changes in 2018 before we actually instituted this, where we were trying to help pet owners that were coming to the shelter. So by the end of 2018, we had reduced that number to 896, which is a 40% decrease from the prior years. We are currently tracking a 36% reduction in owner surrenders for this year from last year. As you can see by this graph, the gradual decline in our owner surrenders over the last few years. Our success isn't just measured in the number of pets we stop taking into the shelter. It's also measured by how many of those pets that do enter the shelter that find new homes. The items in red are what we call negative outcomes. Those are pets that have entered the shelter that ultimately are euthanized for various reasons, from being too aggressive to adopt or send to rescue. The owners requested it be euthanized, they were sick, or what we hate the most is for space. As you can see in the highlighted areas, in 2017 alone, we had 501 of those pets that were surrendered were euthanized. That's 38% of those animals. In 2019, we only had 75 to date. That accounts for an 86% reduction from the prior years. There were concerns when we originally started the program. I think a lot of folks felt that we were going to have an increase in the number of stray animals, abandoned animals in the county. Historically, that's kind of been a fear nationwide whenever new programs like this are started. However, when we ran our data over the last year, we actually found that we had a 25% decrease in the number of stray cats and an 18% decrease in the number of stray dogs. As far as abandoned animals, we had a 45% decrease in abandoned cats and a 40% decrease in abandoned dogs. And a lot of people have asked over the last year what actually defines an abandoned animal. That's usually where we find an animal that after investigating the situation, it's determined that the only way that pet could have gotten to where it was at is if the owner had left it there. A lot of times they have tags on, or they're found a great distance from where the owners actually live, or a neighbor or somebody's actually witnessed it occur. Or a lot of times what we have is the people just pick up and leave in the middle of the night, leave their pet behind on the property. Again, as you can see in this graph, we've had a gradual decline in the number of stray and abandoned animals. So we have not seen anything to signify that that number of stray and abandoned animals is going to increase due to this policy. And just in conclusion, just to kind of go over a few things again. So from October 1st of 2017 to October 1st of 2018, covering the same time period we're covering this year, we had over 1,000 owner-surrendered pets. From October 1st of last year to October 1st of this year, we had 669. That was almost 400 less pets we took into the shelter, and that was a 37% decrease in the number of owner surrenders over that same time period in the previous year. So 86 of our owner surrendered pets were also rehomed, either through rehoming through the owner before the pet entered the shelter, through a rescue, or being adopted out of the shelter. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone might have on that.
Any questions for Mr. Caskey? All right. Thanks, Dave. Y'all do a great job down there, and it looks like things are going in the right direction. So thank you for you and all your staff's hard work. Commissioners, our first item of business is approval of the September 9th, 2019 minutes. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Ray, is there a second? Commissioner Pritchard, any discussion on the September 9th minutes? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. We have no zoning resolutions this month, so we'll jump right to our other resolutions. First one is 1910-1, resolution of Montgomery County Board of Commissioners authorizing the acceptance of grant funds from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Beal, second. Commissioner Gannon, any discussion on 1910-1? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Resolution 1910-2, a resolution to appropriate funds from the Sheriff's Office Data Processing Reserve Account. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Lewis, second. Commissioner Bryant, any discussion on 1910-2? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Resolution 1910-3 is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the budget for the acceptance of additional state grant funds from the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Riccone, second. Commissioner Tangi Smith, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Resolution 1910-4 is a resolution to provide funding in the amount of $130,000 to the United Way of the Greater Clarksville Region, a tax-exempt organization under 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Leverett, second. Commissioner Pritchard, any discussion? Commissioner Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, we had I thought, a very nice discussion about the United Way funding. One thing I want to make sure that all of us understand, I think all of us in this room think highly of what United Way does for our community. It's a great organization and does some very good things. I think the principle at play that I've heard from a majority of my constituents is that they don't want their tax dollars to fund a nonprofit. And both of those things, you can believe both of those things at the same time. So I would appreciate your help on this vote. We'll go from there.
Commissioner Leverett.
As I previously asked, the commission is to please just reallocate the previously budget funding for United Way for this current fiscal year. There's no need to go on and on. I'm just asking for your yes vote so that we can have the United Way to keep their continuity in service. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 9 yeses, 10 noes, and 0 abstentions.
I'm sorry, that resolution fails. Resolution 1910-5 is a resolution to amend animal care and control regulations regarding reporting a rabies vaccination, registration fee, and collection. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Lewis, is there a second? Commissioner Keene, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 18 yeses, 1 no, 0 abstentions.
Resolution 1910-6, a resolution adopting a purpose for Montgomery County Department Veterans Service Organization. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Chandler, second. Commissioner Beal, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
Yep, 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners, Resolution 1910-7 and 1910-8 have been pulled from the agenda. They will come back before you at our November meeting. So we move to Resolution 1910-9, a resolution approving the formation of the Montgomery County Sports Authority. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Albert, second. Commissioner Gannon, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Resolution 1910-10, a resolution to appropriate funds to cover hardware and cabling needs for new employees. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Lewis, second. Commissioner Rasnick, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. We have no items under unfinished business. Under reports, Ms. Jackson, would you like to read your report?
Comes Kelly A. Jackson, County Clerk, Montgomery County, Tennessee, and presents the County Clerk's report for the month of September 2019. I hereby request that the persons named on the list of new applicants to the office of Notary Public be elected. The oaths of the sheriff's deputies are approved as taken. This report shall be spread upon the minutes of the Board of County Commissioners. You received your list of new applicants for notaries last week. None of those were signed by personal surety, and you do not have any names that need to be read into the minutes for bond purposes.
Is there a motion to approve the clerk's report? Commissioner Creek, second. Commissioner Harper, any discussion on the clerk's report? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. School liaison report. Commissioner Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Just wanted to give a quick update on what transpired at our October 8th, which was the formal school board meeting. The director of schools at the end of the meeting spoke to, there is a request by the county to reacquire the Kirkwood property. I think 3 or 4 of us county commissioners have asked for that to happen. He spoke to that happening. Now, I think we're going to have that on our November docket, but he actually sternly warned and admonished the school board not to take that action until they get the funding in hand for the design fees for the new complex. And I thought that was really important information that the public would need to know about and that everyone on the commission should know about. So if you have any questions about it, I'd be glad to talk with you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harper. You'll see, Commissioners, under the reports filed, the various reports that are filed, I would just bring your attention to items number 2 and 3. Those are required that those 2 documents be reported back to the commission. So those are in your Dropbox. Nominating committee. Chairman Gannon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. The nominating committee met last week, and we would like to enter these in for a nomination. On the Delinquent Tax Sales and Release Committee, a 2-year term, Ricky Ray is nominated to replace Commissioner Garland Johnson for a 2-year term to expire in October of 2021. Commissioner Walker Woodruff has been filling an unexpired term of Jason Hodges and is eligible to serve a 2-year term to expire October 2021. And Commissioner Carmel Chandler has filling an unexpired term of Martha Brockman and is eligible to serve a 2-year term to expire in 2021. On the Health Board, which is a 4-year term, Dr. Charles Fitch, a physician licensed to practice in the state of Tennessee, has completed a 4-year term and is eligible to serve another 4-year term to expire in October of 2023. And Dr. Jeannie Beauchamp, a dentist licensed to practice dentistry in the state of Tennessee, has completed a 4-year term and is eligible to serve another 4-year term to expire October of 2023. On the Industrial Development Board, a 6-year term, Leo Milan is nominated to fill the unexpired term of James Corlew, who resigned, with the term to expire in January 30 of 2023. And I enter all those in as a nomination.
As a motion,
Yeah.
second, Commissioner Riccone. Any discussion on the nominating committee nominations? And they're all together, correct? If you would, please register your vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 18 yeses, 0 nos, 1 abstention.
Thank you, ma'am. Under county mayor appointments, this will require commission approval. Nicholas Baker, appointed as a new member of the Senior Citizens Board of Directors due to a change in bylaws which increased board membership from 12 to 14, term to expire April of 2022. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Gannon, second. Commissioner Keene, any discussion? Sir?
By 2 people, it says it went up by 2 people, but we're only nominating 1.
I don't have an answer.
Just curious.
At least we're not nominating 3. Maybe we'll have somebody next month. I really don't have an answer, Commissioner Gannon. I apologize. Any other questions? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 0 nos, 0 abstentions.
Commissioners, we have no announcements other than the fact I again want to apologize for last Monday night. I want to thank Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Riccone for just stepping up here and jumping into the fire, but I do apologize. But I would like to report that Mama and the baby are both doing well, and so thank you for your patience Monday night. With that being said, I'll call on Chief Deputy John Smith to adjourn us.
All rise. Oh, yes, this Honorable Board of County Commission now stands adjourned. May God save this state and its Honorable Board of County Commissioners.